UFC 321 Aspinall vs. Gane just wrapped up. I'm going to break down the whole card, but I'm going to start with the main event and talk about how much of a quitter Tom Aspinall is. I'm going to show you why he's a quitter, why he just got fraud checked by Ciryl Gane, and why he would never, ever beat Jon Jones. Let's take a look. What you saw was not an illusion. Tom Aspinall got double eye poked, and that fight was ruled a no contest. Tom is just a quitter. I don't understand how he wouldn't be able to take those eye pokes. Why he would just quit like that. Probably because he was losing that fight. And he would never lose to my goat Jon Jones. Obviously, this is satire. Tom Aspinall got eye poked, clearly, as I just showed you right here. Look at other angles of it. You can see, as well as in this angle, Ciryl Gane's other finger in Tom's left eye, pops out. You can see it come out of his eye. But Tom did have a problem with this one, mostly. And you can say that it didn't go inside of his eye, but it's not like his eyelid is made of something different. It's still skin. It's still just skin, and Ciryl Gane pressed his fingers through Tom Aspinall's eyes. I can't believe that we are labeling this guy a quitter. But we do know that he would not have gone past Jon Jones. Jon Jones and his signature eye pokes would have for sure just annihilated Tom Aspinall. They would have been so quick that the referee wouldn't have even had time to recognize that Tom got eye poked. Jon Jones would have been all over that. No, but seriously, I don't understand the narratives that some people are already painting. It's mostly just fans of Jon Jones that want their 3-time PED cheat, wife beating, drunk driving goat to be compared to. So I'm just gonna break down the fight real quick. Get rid of this. Let's get some things straight. Ciryl Gane did much better than I thought. He surprised me during this. He really did. And it sucks to say that due to my bias against him and the way that he got to this title shot. But I can also say that Tom did not get dominated. He did not get rocked or wobbled at any point. And he and Gane also connected punches on each other. Punches and kicks were connected on both sides with power. We're not going to act like Tom didn't put some mustard on him at some points. Okay? He hit Gane with some clean shots at times. This was not a domination. I do need to look back at the fight and decide for myself how that fight went up to the eye poke. But I just need to continue to emphasize that the narrative should not be that Tom in any way quit during this fight, because he got eye poked, okay? They affect people differently. It doesn't need to be a whole finger in the eye to be a fight stopping eye poke. And the eye that he was complaining about, people are saying that it didn't go in the eye and all of that, is still dug into the corner of his eye. And he immediately complained about it. He immediately knew. Um, but yeah, I mean, Gane surprised me. He did a lot better. He used his movement, he used his jab. He did good with the striking, honestly, and with his takedown defense. He immediately stuffed Tom's double leg, which, I'll be honest, wasn't that good of a shot. And that's not to discredit Gane. It's more or less to discredit, I guess, the shot from Tom. Tom's a good fighter, and he has good entries in the past, but that entry wasn't good. But after they separated, they had their striking battle, and then they eye poke. The rematch has to happen. I would like for it to not be, but since it was as competitive as it was, I understand. Okay, I understand, and I know that it's inevitable. We will get this rematch for the heavyweight title at some point, probably in a few months' time. But I hate the reality that we have to live through these next 2 months with... You know what, I don't even care. I think something just turned. I don't care what the Jon Jones Glazers are going to say due to this result. Okay, your GOAT is a PED Roy cheat. And for anyone defending him, all I ask is why? You look into his past, I mean, and you want to put him on such a big pedestal. And people will say, oh, you're just bringing up stuff outside of the octagon, and not the fact that he's been dominant in every single one of his fights. In every single one of his fights, you can assume that he's been taking roids, because he's been caught like 3 times. And one time, he got caught with like the testosterone levels of someone with no testicles. Like, he's known for hiding under the octagon at his training gym from USADA. There's a story of that. He had a fight overturned to a no contest. He had a whole fight moved the location because he tested positive for something. And there's more. There's more, and it's concrete evidence that he's a clear Roy cheat, fighting against some clean fighters, built up his legacy, and now they're going to use this fight and run with narratives of Jon Jones being able to beat Tom Aspinall. But I don't care because of those reasons, because of him being such a PED Roy cheat, and such a shitty person that, like, I just genuinely feel disappointed with the people that are defending him and shitting on Tom for this fight. But with all that being said, it is time to be critical on Tom. I didn't like how he looked throughout this fight. I didn't like the entries that he was making on his takedown and his striking at times. He had some good strikes, he connected with some strikes, but I didn't like how he was entering a lot of the time. It resulted in Ciryl Gane being able to jab him, establish that, and be able to land some good shots on him and find it. Tom Aspinall's nose got busted at one point, started bleeding, and Tom did a bad spinning back kick, then he did a spin just in general without a move attached to it, and smiled and touched gloves with Gane. I don't like that body language from Tom, and it makes me scared going forward into this rematch. I don't like seeing that out of Tom. I hope he takes it a lot more seriously in the next fight in the octagon, and I hope that the preparation going into the next one really does well for him, because I want to see Tom win, and I definitely don't want to see Ciryl Gane win. I have to bring up the fact that just, again, I mentioned it before, he doesn't deserve this title. He doesn't deserve the shot at the title. His best wins are like Tai Tuivasa and Sergey Pavlovich. Not Pavlovich, Sergey Spivak. And robbing Volkov. Clearly. But, I mean, what more is there to say? We will see this fight again in a few months. And I hope Tom can correct his mistakes, brutally finishing Cyril Gane. I didn't watch this. I knew what it was going to be. On to the feature fight, which was Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. Umar did very well. He just overall had control of the fight. Round 1, Mario Batista, I thought it was a head kick, but Mario lands a knee that was like angled, sort of like a head kick. It didn't come like straight forward. It came at sort of an angle, and it hit Umar in the chest and like the bottom of the chin, and it dropped him. It like sat him down, but like he went on like a knee or something. Regardless, he touched earth, and for a second there, I thought, holy shit, Mario Batista just slapped Umar in front of Khabib, and I was going to be elated, but no. Umar has a good chin. He stayed up, and for the next like 2 rounds, he took control with the wrestling and with the striking. But it was competitive throughout the whole fight. It was competitive, but it was just Umar doing more in those rounds. You could tell that Mario prepped a lot with the grappling. He did really well with his scrambles, but I mean, for the most part, Umar always got the takedown whenever he wanted it throughout this fight. So yeah, I mean, it's not enough to go back to fighting Merab for the title, but I feel like he needs one more, and then maybe we can do a rematch. Mario Batista was a really tough challenge. I think he is a really good fighter in this bantamweight division. I think the next person that gets him is going to be unlucky, because Mario Batista is really good from what I saw in this fight. But Umar did enough, and hats off to him. I want to see who he fights next. Alright. Volkov versus Almeida. What an interesting fight this was. As you can see on the screen, yeah, these numbers are actually kind of insane. You would see a split decision, look at these numbers and be like, how is this a split decision? Well, I mean, never mind. You could, I guess, see. But cut Almeida from the sport. Why do we have Jailton Almeida in the sport? You cut Muhammad Makayev, and now if you do not cut Jailton Almeida, I do not understand. Maybe Muhammad Makayev was causing problems in the, like, behind the scenes, but Jailton Almeida is like, actually, he stunk up this fight so badly. Dana White was there watching. If he has a pair of working eyes that didn't get poked by Cyril Gane, he will be able to see this and say, Jailton needs to get cut from the UFC. He's stinking up fights. He's trying to just smudge people against the canvas without creating much damage. I don't care if you're sneaking in elbows and like some good hammer fists every like 30 seconds. I want to see attempts to finishing the fight. Volkov, I mean, it was just so much time on the ground. And the time that it wasn't on the ground, Volkov was like winning the striking. He was outstriking Jailton Almeida on the feet, and on the ground he was arguably landing even more damaging strikes than Jailton was on top. There was a point where he like cut him with an elbow on bottom. Actually, you know what? I think I kind of got this confused, I think, with which was it? I think I'm getting this confused with another fight. God damn it. It's whatever. But it still applies. Volkov was landing elbows on the bottom and was arguably landing more damaging strikes than Jailton was on top. Cut Jailton from the sport. I'm glad Dana White did something correct and gave competent judges to judge Volkov's fight. I wish he did the same with him against Gane, but whatever. Dana White saw this. He was like, fuck, I can't get rid of Volkov like I want to. I can't give him the worst matchup in the heavyweight division possible after he got robbed, and now rob him again after this guy is smudging him. I gotta give him the win. Screw it. So I'm glad he did. Good win from Volkov. Alexander Rakic versus Aspinall Mirzakhanov. I just realized I need to talk about my picks. Obviously, can't talk about that. Got my pick right here. Did not get a pick right here. I thought Alexander Rakic was going to be different from Brenson Ribeiro and Alonzo Minifield. I thought maybe he won't be that chinny, but he is that chinny. He got hit with a good, like, right hand, like a right cross or right jab as they were both going forward. They both, like, met with, like, entries on strikes, but Asmat had a tighter right hand that just went right through him, and it dropped him immediately. He wasn't, like, flatlined, but he didn't have any. He was super concussed, had no idea what was going on, and had to curl up defensively. It's unfortunate for Rakic. He's had problems with, like, injuries, I'm pretty sure. And it sucks that he got KO'd this way. But it was a cool finish from Aspinall Mirzakhanov. It was a good finish. It was fun. He was, like, talking shit to Rakic after the fight too, which I didn't like, but maybe they were talking shit to each other just in the build-up, which is whatever. Yeah. Can't wait to see who he fights next. Maybe Johnny Walker. I don't know. Alright, next up, Nasrat Haqparast versus Quillan Salkilde. What a KO, man. What a KO. Very quick. They were striking, and then they weren't, because Quillan Salkilde head kick KO'd, walk off KO'd Nasrat Haqparast, and it was brutal. He got the head kick right through, and Nasrat Haqparast went right down, didn't even need follow-up shots, and he was out cold, flatlined immediately. It was a really cool finish, and it was so brutal. Nasrat Haqparast was out for minutes. You know, he started coming to when they were announcing the knockout and stuff. And it sucks. I thought Nasrat Haqparast was going to win this. I thought Quillan Salkilde was more than likely going to end up like how Nasrat did. But damn, he found the shot that just shut the lights out. So great stuff from Quillan Salkilde. I can't wait to see him fight again. Next up, Ikram Aliskerov versus Young Park. I mean, it was close. It was close, and it seemed like the Iron Turtle was building up to break Ikram Aliskerov. In between rounds, according to the translator, I'm not sure if this was translated correctly, but Khabib was like telling Ikram to not show he was tired or he is going to get finished. So Khabib knew that he was tired and that he could be finished, or that he was going to be finished if he showed that he was tired. But Ikram did what he needed to. Throughout the first, he outstruck Young Park just straight up. And he was able to take down Park a lot. And he was able to establish control. Him mixing that up and also outstriking him a lot on the feet, it just etched him to victory. The Iron Turtle made it super competitive and was outstriking him a lot at times throughout the second and third, but Ikram just hung in there, mixed it up when he needed to, found the shots when he needed to, and he edged himself a victory. So it was okay. I didn't mind it all that much. And yeah. Next, Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Rebecki. I mean, I got my pick right. I'm pretty sure it was the third round though that Rebecki was like coming back and like doing really well. But oh wait. Hold on, the majority decision, wasn't this? I'm pretty sure a foul was done in this fight. I believe a foul was done to where I think Klein might have gotten a point. One of these two got a point taken away from something. I'm not even going to go back and see what it was and correct myself, but someone got a point taken away from them in this fight, and it resulted in their own 10-8 being canceled out. I'm pretty sure Ludovic Klein got himself the first round. I think he made it very competitive, or no, he got like a 10-8 in the second, and then Mateusz Rebecki 10-8'd him in the third. I'm pretty sure that's how the third one. It was like super dominant in the third, yeah. But I mean, this was a war. I don't know how Mateusz Rebecki does it. Every time he fights, it just seems like he wears the damage so crazy. He gets into brawls a lot, and he makes it entertaining, and I can't wait to see him fight again, but he took such a bad beating again. And I don't know. Great win from Ludovic Klein. He was piecing up Rebecki a lot. He wobbled him 3-4 times in the whole fight. It seemed like every single round Rebecki got wobbled at one point. Ludovic Klein was just catching him with flush head kicks and right hands that were just stinging Rebecki so hard that he just stopped in his tracks, wobbled a bit, and then went back to it. Ludovic Klein didn't have the finishing instincts to be able to put him out. I didn't see him show that much urgency necessarily when he did wobble him a bunch of those times. I might have to look back at that, but it just speaks to the toughness of Rebecki, maybe to the finishing ability of Ludovic Klein, but he got it done. He really put the paws on Rebecki, and he made him go into a war again that he lost. It's a good win from Ludwig Klein. And for Becky, it wasn't all that bad. Like, it was a brutal beating. But, like, you made it competitive and you did well at times. So keep your head up. And it's not like you're going to drop super far. Alright, Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. I mean, he has one move so far that he has finished every single UFC heavyweight with. And going into this fight, you know that he has that move and that he's going to go for that. And he still gets it. I mean, the narrative was that Louis Sutherland was like a layup for this dude. I feel like Walter Walker just needs a better competition than Louis Sutherland for me to really be impressed with this. It's really cool that he's gotten this much heel hooks, and I want to see him fight again. His post-fight speech was funny. Like, he was bragging about how he talks like 3-4 languages. Then he called Chris Barnett Peppa Pig, but like some other shit. Like, he added some shit onto that, and I mean, it was just a funny interview, and I want to see him fight again. And I kind of like him for his post-fight interview. Makes me want to root for him. Like, just how funny he was on the post-fight interview. And I mean, it's pretty cool to see someone like get it with like one sort of submission. I wouldn't like it to always be that, add a little bit more excitement, but I wouldn't mind having a guy that's just like pulling heel hooks and just getting like almost everyone. Seems pretty cool. But moving on, Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Miguel Delgado. This was pretty competitive. Nathaniel Wood gets the decision win. He gets the nod on the cards. This fight was really competitive in my opinion. Jose did very well at some points. He landed some very clean shots on Nathaniel Wood at times. But I'm not mad at the decision win. Yeah, they both just had a really competitive fight, and there isn't much to say. I would just like to see a little bit more out of... I don't know, I would like to see more out of Jose for us to consider him like a really tough featherweight and like really give him some hype. But yeah, that's really not much to say in my opinion. It was a good fight though. Hamdi Abdelwahab versus Chris Barnett. Just utter domination throughout this entire fight. Hamdi, whenever he wanted to get Chris Barnett down, he basically did get Chris Barnett down. Chris Barnett got away with a fence grab at one point. And he just didn't have any sort of answer with the wrestling. He just got beat up over the course of this fight, and it could have gotten stopped, and I wouldn't have been mad at it. There were points where Hamdi was just smudging him, and I'm not excited about that. But, I mean, I just knew this was going to happen. Like, Chris Barnett, he is no longer in that kind of shape at this point. He just doesn't have the answers to be any good in the heavyweight division, but I mean, it was alright. And to the first fight that I saw, Azat Maxim versus Mitraposo. Mitraposo just did a really good job of denying the takedowns. And when he did get taken down, he almost always got right back up, I'm pretty sure. And he did better in the striking. He outstruck him when he needed to. and he did what he needed to stop the takedowns. He overall just did a really good job, and I was surprised by this fight. Metroposo surprised me because Asmat Maxim went toe-to-toe with Tagir Ulanbekov. He made it competitive with him, and even with the slams that he got on Metroposo, right back up, or they weren't that damaging. Yeah, I mean, Metroposo, just good job. Good job during this fight. And that was pretty much it. Like, that was my breakdown for Aspinall versus Gane card. Overall, the card was sick. It was such a sick card with the finishes and fights that we got, and like the results for the most part. But it's so hard to not feel like there was more to be desired out of this main event. But I mean, we're gonna see this again, so it's just a matter of time until we see this again and I get to talk about it again. So yeah, I mean, good card, disappointing main event. Tom, you gotta get back in the lab and you gotta sharpen some things, okay? Don't be too hard on yourself and don't get these narratives confused. You did not get dominated, and I don't know. I want to see you back in that octagon, fighting Cyril Gane, and correcting things. But yeah, good card. Is what it is. Nice finishes, though.